Meteorologist Tuttle here. For years, I've been recommending Ferguson Roof Systems to homeowners across Oklahoma. So when Mother Nature struck my house, it was an easy call to make. There's no one I would trust more than Ferguson Roof Systems for my home's roof. Since 1977, Ferguson has led the industry with an A+ Better Business Bureau rating and lifetime warranties. Plus, they'll even deal with the insurance companies so you don't have to. So when Mother Nature strikes, make your first call to Ferguson Roof Systems.
Hey everyone, Meteorologist Tuttle with you. It is time to get busy. Winter storm arrives. Decided to go ahead and do a live. Surgery that I had earlier today was pretty good. I got a compression bandage on here. It's not as bad as I thought it'd be. I thought it was going to have like a big, huge honking thing. So, is there anything on my head? Is there something you're looking at? Anyway, we're going to do a quick live here tonight and give you an update on what the weather looks like over the next 12 to 24 hours. Obviously, there's been some hubbub around town. I know a lot of businesses have canceled already. Schools have canceled, I'm sure. The centers have closed. You name it. So I'm not surprised. We do have some more of that icy mess coming our way. So it's probably a pretty good call because that stuff's not fun to drive on. So thanks for tuning in for that. All right, check it in. I have right now all the feeds are going. Sorry, looks like you guys on Instagram Live. I missed you there for a minute, but now I got you up and running. Okay, so let's see here. Let me check everything else is going. Rumble, you guys are happy. Locals was giving me a fit tonight. I don't know why. There it is. Locals is up again now. Seems to be a little flaky. I haven't used Locals before. I've been starting to use Locals here recently. So I'm working out the kinks, but right now it seems to be up and running. So that's pretty good. Of course, Facebook is going well. You guys are in the chat already. I see you dropping me some stars. I appreciate the love on there. Yes, I am a unicorn again. So if this thing grows out this way, we got a problem. So yeah, all jokes aside, the surgery went well. So what happened was I had a lipoma here that was removed a year ago, about this time. And I don't know where it came from. I don't know how it happened. Nobody knows. These are weird things. Anyway, it was wrapped around like some nerves and my main vein up in here. So it was a very delicate operation because otherwise you can go numb. You can just do all kinds of stuff. So the guy did a good job and he got what he thought was all of it. But then something grew back in its place a year later. So I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I do have a horn that's trying to come out. So he went back in there today. Again, it was wrapped around the nerves and everything. So it was a very delicate operation. And I was a bleeder today. And he gave me the stuff he put in there to keep feeling pain. And I was feeling lots of pain. He goes, well, that's not supposed to happen. I said, well, I'm telling you, I felt you cauterizing. It burned a little. He's like, uh-oh. But anyway, but other than that, it was fine. I can take pain. Red-haired people can take pain a little bit better anyway, so it wasn't a big deal. But he got that done. He got it out, and it was like a little pea-sized area. And he's like, I don't know what that is. Something's embedded in the inside. I'm just going to send it all to the lab, and I'll let you know. So, okay. All right, thanks. So, good job. Passed you back up on my way. So, I'm good. Looked at some weather data. I've been getting a lot of you in the Facebook private group that wanted access there. It's a mess because you guys can't follow directions nor read, and that's fine. It just means it delays everything, and me and Jody are just pulling our hair out trying to get you in there just because it's a painful process when you have a lot of people that are trying to get in, and I got to track everybody down. It's like herding cats. The rest of those are also on YouTube. Appreciate you joining in the Facebook fan subscriptions and also the YouTube memberships, and then same thing for locals, and TikTok also has that option for you as well, Instagram Live too. So many options you can pick to join in on the coverage. And I addressed this earlier today at lunchtime. I know I've had a couple people upset. Like, why would you charge to save lives during tornadoes? Instead of giving it for free for the last 15 years that you've been doing. And I get that. I understand that question. And then I would encourage you then to when you wake up and or driven and or dumped off at the ER because you're about to die and the doctor, stitches you up, does what he's got to do to save your life. I'm pretty sure you don't come out of that and go, hey, why are you charging me for saving my life? Same kind of deal, same kind of thought process. People do have to make a living at what they do. So you're going to pay the hospital bill whenever you're still alive on all twos. Hopefully you're not on all fours, on all twos, and you walk out of there and be thankful. So hopefully you'll feel the same way when it comes to saving your life from tornadoes. So I've decided to make a switch just because the landscape, and I've been through all this in the past. I'm not going to rehash, but you can watch my prior videos for that or read the blog to kind of get update on that. Otherwise, welcome to the subscribe land of AT's Weather. So it'll be a membership platform based for a lot of the content. Not all of it, but a lot of it. So things are changing in that direction, so feel free to jump on board. And if you can't afford, etc., I get it. It's a cost of a pizza. If you eat one pizza the entire year, you just bought me. That's how cheap I am. And if you can't afford one pizza for the entire year, I get it. Some people can't afford one pizza for the entire year. I'm going to say that again because that's how ridiculous it sounds. But it's a priority thing, and I get that too. You got to obviously save where you can. So it's up to you. However you want to treat my value, it's fine. It's not going to hurt my feelings either way. I've been doing what I've been doing forever. I'm still going to keep doing it. I'll still be here. Okay, so let's go on with the weather. Now we got all that business out of the way. We do have some cloudiness out there. It's obviously cold. Now I've got about 33.1 degrees. So if you're wondering when does the trouble start, trouble starts on this camera looking at my shirt for some reason. Look at that. That'll make you dizzy. When you get to 32.0 to be exact. Now, typically, in reality, it's a little less than that. I mean, that is the point for the phase change, when it comes to physics. But usually it's when you get temperatures into the 20s and or definitely in the 31, degree range. So that's when things really start to kind of get a little fun when it comes to ice accumulations, etc. Because that can overcome some of the heat that's out there in the atmosphere. Now, when we look out across the state right now on the radar view, we have temperatures that are into the 30s pretty much across all of Oklahoma, with the exception of way down here in southeast. They're about 43 degrees at the tip of the state. Otherwise, just a couple of degrees at or above freezing here in central Oklahoma, and then below. Once you get up to around the Woodward area, there's some snow starting to break out up here in southwestern Kansas, and also up here into southeastern Colorado, and then there's some New Mexico. So this is the storm system just now starting to show up on the radar view, so this will become more active as we get into tonight. All right, so temperatures out there, like we mentioned, into the 20s. Beavers at 22, Hooker 21. So again, nice and chilly up there in the Panhandle. It's been in that way for the last 24 hours. They're colder than the rest of the state. Here's that freezing line here in yellow, and that will sag southward here for tonight. This will be a key component because let's assume that the line is going to be right about here, which is what I told you at lunchtime today is where I thought the line would be. So that means pretty much anywhere along and north of this boundary is where you're going to get the ice accumulation here for tonight, in this kind of little sweet spot. So we'll look at that here in just a moment. But temperatures out there for today, they were still cold. They were to the 30s, so hopefully you're used to this stuff by now. So here is a look at the precipitation timing. The National Weather Service put out these graphics here for today. So they're starting time is midnight tonight here in a couple of hours. Well, guess what? It's already started. Surprise, surprise. For the snow out here in the northwest Oklahoma. Now, some of it might be evaporating, but it's going to get there. Otherwise, a little bit later, and the key here, about closer to 3 o'clock in the morning here for central Oklahoma, and then points to the east after that through lunchtime tomorrow. So obviously an earlier start out here in west and southwest Oklahoma. And this is where I have the line that I mentioned earlier at lunchtime. They had the line up here from north of Tulsa to just barely Oklahoma City, but now they're deciding they may want to shift that down south, and I think that's a good idea. All right, so that's a look at that information. They talked about the ice amounts here across the northern half of the state, but mainly kind of focused here in the central sections. I'm going to move that southward though. Sleet amounts, snow amounts up to the north as well. Winter weather advisories in purple, which just means we're dealing with the mixture of a mixed bag of precipitation that's going to cause some problems for you. Here's a look at the key messages. Below zero wind chills coming up in northern Oklahoma with north winds over 10 to 15 miles per hour as we head into tomorrow night and Thursday. So very cold. Actual air temperatures in the single digits and teens. So even though we're talking about the winter weather, don't forget you can get some hypothermia action and get cold and get sick and get to the ER that you're going to need to pay a doctor to save your life. If that's going to happen to you if you're out and about and you're not well protected. So keep that in mind. We're going to be dealing with some frostbite weather coming up. Okay, so like we talked about for driving, I advise you not to do it, but if you are, make sure your vehicle's ready. Check your battery, your wipers, your coolant, other systems affected by cold temperatures, your tires, snow, ice, dirt, clear them off your windows because you're going to be getting out in the morning. They'll be covered in ice, so you're going to have to get out there and scrape them. You have to let the car warm up, that kind of deal. Pack emergency supply kit, mobile phone, charger, batteries, blankets, flashlight, first aid kit, So a little bit of food, a little bit of water, just in case you get stuck on the side of the road somewhere. If you're off into the boonies, maybe you need something to kind of get you out of that rut. So maybe a little bit of sand or cat litter or something if you're going to try to do it yourself. Otherwise, wait for a good old farmer with a truck to try to yank you out. Otherwise, shovel, scraper, battery booster cables, etc. And of course, check road conditions. You can visit my website, AaronTuttleWeather.com. It's got the road conditions on that one. Otherwise, you can call the number 511. You can visit many areas to get your information that way. All right, on Tulsa, same idea. They're talking about the winter weather advisory here in purple over their northern counties. They will likely, just so you know, bring this down here to at least this area, I believe. Otherwise, they're looking for snow and sleet, up to 2-inch accumulations with ice of a light glaze, slick spots on roads and elevated surfaces. Now remember, the bridges and overpasses are always the first to go downhill, and then the rest of the roads follow suit thereafter. And it's not that long of a time frame when they do all start to go downhill. It's not quite unison, but it's pretty close. As far as the precipitation breakdown, see, they already have the pink shading down to the south for the wintry mix. So that typically means that they're going to put the winter weather advisory within that, so they're just going to have to extend it southward when they do their next update. Otherwise, the wintry mix is expected all the way down the I-44 corridor. They have a medium to high chance of minor travel impacts where winter weather occurs. Very low chance of power outages because we're not getting that kind of a heavy ice accumulation. When you look here in central Oklahoma for Oklahoma City, for example, and we look at the HRRR model, we can kind of break down the exact timing as to the start and stop time for the heavier round of precipitation from between here and here, which correlates. If you look up here at the chart, that's about 2:30 in the morning for a start time, and this is about a 6:30 to 7 a.m. wrap-up time for the bulk of the heavy precipitation. You still have some light stuff before and light stuff after, but that's the meat and potatoes, with the DBZ values coming in around 30 to 40, close to that. That means some brief, heavy, moderate to somewhat heavy freezing rain and some sleet mixing in during that time, and that's what this little orange color here represents, and the pink. So orange is ice pellets and the pink is freezing rain. What's the difference? Ice pellets are little teeny tiny little dots. They're like clear and they bounce around. The freezing rain is basically like a liquid raindrop that just freezes on contact, and that's what you call freezing rain. So those are two types of ice precipitation that can cause problems. You get a lot of freezing rain and you get power outages due to the heaviness. If you get a lot of sleet, that's not bad because it's not freezing rain. In other words, it's solid. And believe it or not, you can somewhat drive on that if other conditions are better for you, but it doesn't cause power outages. But if it can, eventually melt somewhat, it will eventually congeal into a solid sheet of ice, and you won't be able to, move it around or kick it around like you would like snow, for example. But either way, it's usually not good to deal with either one of those. The temperatures also on this little chart here hold below freezing. So in other words, below around 32 degrees. Okay, so that's just kind of the short version of what's coming up for tonight and tomorrow. So if you watched me the last few days, absolutely nothing has changed. Let's look at this data that just came in hot off the presses to see what has changed there and see if I need to adjust anything, because I have not looked in detail with this. We'll look together. Upper level low pressure, or trough axis, is coming right here, coming on through. All the bright colors equals the lift in the atmosphere, so that's moving on through tonight into tomorrow. And then we have that little wraparound that comes in for Thursday on the backside, so it's Wednesday night, Thursday morning, this little batch moving through. Then that system's out of here, and here comes the next one. This guy right here at upper level low, coming in pretty strong here, anchored across southeastern Colorado, so out ahead of it, we'll get some lift for our Saturday. So the question is, how much cold air is still sticking around when this next system comes? And that will tell you how much more of that rain, sleet, and snow that we get on Saturday. So a quick look at the big, strong vertical lift in the atmosphere. Here's midnight, so you can start to see the brighter red starting to show it coming on in. As we head toward the 3 a.m. hour, you can see how it expands here across the state. So again, the brighter the colors, the stronger the lift. Once we get to around breakfast tomorrow, we start to see the bulk of the lift starting to shift to the east. You still have some residual, though, out to the west of us. And then there's mid-morning, and then there's lunchtime. You see how it's pretty much almost all evaporated, which means you can just have basically a little bit of light precipitation at most in that case. Otherwise, it's pretty much all gone. And then here comes that little secondary batch we talked about developing here in the data for Wednesday night, Thursday morning. This will be a little bit of a snowmaker that moves quickly through central Oklahoma, dumps a little bit of snow right across Oklahoma City for that one as well. All right, so here's a look at temperatures as we head into tomorrow morning. And this is where things kind of got fun. In the model day, they usually bust on Arctic air. They're never quite right. In other words, they stay too warm, and they should be on the colder side. So let's just take a look at how much fun this is. This is the HRRR model. So this is the I-40 corridor. Okay, this is the blue, which indicates 32 degrees. It snakes in just north of Lawton. So I'm going to show you how, depending on which model you pick, you're going to get a different outcome. So that was the HRRR. This one's the Icon, pretty close, right? Here's the NAM. Okay, so it's a little north of there. Here's the high resolution NAM, also a little north of there. Here's the blended models, so also north of that line. Here's the UK Met, still north of that line. What else we got? The American model, way north of that line. Here's the European, almost on it, just a little north. And then there is the AI version of the European. So which one do I like? I like the AI. I like artificial intelligence. I think it's going to beat the rest of them. And that brings that line a little bit more to the south. So that's why at lunchtime today I told you probably just right around the north side of Muskogee, back down through Pauls Valley, which is right around in here, and then back down to the north side of Wichita Falls, which is right here. So anywhere along this line it points north. If you're getting precipitation, you're not going to want it. It's a form of ice. Okay, so let's break down. Oh, you know what? Let me do this real quick. Let me show you. Yeah, let me do this. Let's go Thursday morning real quick. I want to show you how cold temperatures will be Thursday morning, and we'll do the close-up view of this. And I'll show you also kind of the model spread on just how cold it'll be. So that'll be our coldest day this week. The weekend, Sunday morning, will also be cold. But let's take a look here. So about 12 degrees on the AI model, the European. There's 15, 17, 14 here in Oklahoma City. The Icon model's 12. NAM is stupid at 20. We can throw that out. Blended models at 15. UK Met 18. So quite a range. I like the colder side, so I think it'll be quite nasty. And this is just right in Oklahoma. When you get north into Kansas and Nebraska, forget about it. It's below zero. I mean, it's not even a question. Okay, so precipitation timing. Let's take a look at that. We already got the light snow breaking out here in the Panhandle, northwest Oklahoma. Okay, so this is after midnight, so you're starting to get that development out here in southwest Oklahoma. So there's our little rain, freezing rain snow mix when it changes from green to purple and pink and red and all that fun stuff. Blue up there in Kansas, so you guys are getting all snow at this event. So there's 2 o'clock in the morning. Here's that huge wave coming in. Look at it explode across central Oklahoma and Oklahoma City. So this is when, if you're out and about driving around late tonight, you think, hey, roads are fine. 3 a.m., it won't be. It won't take but just a few minutes, and it'll just flash freeze everything, and it's going to be a nightmare. So do not be on the roads if you don't have to during this time frame from late tonight into early tomorrow morning, because that'll be the bulk of the heavy precipitation that moves through. It'll take a while for the crews to kind of help battle that, overcome it, get the salt, sand, all that kind of stuff down, and let some of the heat from the ground that's residual to try to melt it from underneath. Otherwise, it'll be a mess. Up here in northwest Oklahoma, also a little bit of a mix of some sleet with some of this and some brief heavy snowfall even here into the Panhandle area. So there's some signs of that. Okay, so 4 o'clock in the morning, same thing keeps going on. Heavier snow up across Kansas, parts of far northern Oklahoma. Otherwise, there's that sleet mix here in the purple. Okay, so that's where your sleet zone is. And then you have the freezing rain zone just south of there. Kind of like that. So, and then you have just plain old-fashioned rain. So just a cold rain down here, no ice expected in this region of southeastern and southern Oklahoma for you guys. So it's kind of a narrow band of transition. So that's what we call a winter mix. So anytime you get a winter mix in the forecast, that's kind of what we're talking about. We're talking about a little bit of everything for you. And that's usually the nasty stuff because you do get the ice you have to deal with. Okay, so that's 5 o'clock in the morning. So you can see Tulsa's getting on the action. So Tulsa, you're going to get some stuff too that's going to prevent you from wanting to be on the roads. It's getting at 6 o'clock in the morning. Same idea. Just kind of keeps on moving through. We start to kind of get the heavier stuff out of the Oklahoma City metro area. Kind of rides up the turnpike here. So you guys will still have some heavier stuff there in Tulsa. And otherwise, see this blue? So it does get a little colder on the backside. So you get a lot more snow that comes in. This will travel, again, on top of the ice that we do have. Now, it's not going to be a whole lot of snow, but it will be some measurable snow here along the I-44 corridor, but much more measurable once you get into northern parts of the state. We'll show you the snowfall total maps here in a second. Anyway, so there's 10 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. There's lunchtime, so noon right there. So still some snow hanging in there in Tulsa. Maybe some flurries elsewhere across parts of the state, but otherwise the heavier stuff is pretty much moved out. There's 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and that is all over, or excuse me, 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and that is all over with. Now here comes that next batch of snow I mentioned coming in for Wednesday night and Thursday morning, right here over Oklahoma City. So hey, that's a pretty good round of some heavy snow. If it keeps its exact track, that's a good path, and that even clips Tulsa a little bit. So again, nice. I mean, we might get like a ½ inch of snow if it. Maybe it'll surprise us. Maybe we'll get an inch out of that deal. Anyway, so that'll be it for that one. And then, like I said, we'll watch what happens on Saturday. And we can take a look at that here with the Canadian model. Let's go ahead and do that. Oh, by the way, the event for this, like I said, is all snow across Kansas and Nebraska, Colorado. We got Iowa, most of Missouri. Far southern Missouri is going to have a little bit of a mix there, as you can see in the colors for you. Otherwise, a good-looking system covering the Central Plains. All right, so let's move on now to Saturday. So here's Saturday, and this is where things kind of get interesting. Here's midday to the afternoon, and it's going to depend on how much cold air comes in. So you can see the cold air is kind of coming in here on the back side, and so how much still comes in before the whole precipitation starts to move out. So we might end up with another mix of some rain, sleet, and snow coming in on this deal, and it's probably going to affect mostly the eastern half of the state as far as significant measurable precipitation. And you can see some heavier snowfall returns here across this region of the state for Saturday into Saturday night. Sunday morning, it's now in Arkansas and Missouri, so it's a good little maker for that. We'll see how it goes for the rest of the state with the new data that comes in over the next couple of days. And then finally, another storm. Yes, this is another winter storm. Talked about this at lunchtime today, so this is around Tuesday. So this has been showing up in the model data as well. So for Tuesday night into Oklahoma and Kansas, so some decent amounts of snow with this one, also extending on into Missouri and parts of northern and central Arkansas, where you guys might get a little ice action in this region for a winter mix for that area, and even maybe southeast Oklahoma and North Texas, and maybe even down to Dallas by Wednesday morning of next week. So 1 week from today, got a little action down there as well. So how about that? We are in a fun, active pattern when it comes to winter weather. Not bad, huh? Okay, I mentioned the temperatures around here obviously pretty cold, and once you get up north or even colder, some models went crazy nuts. Let me go here to the icon for this one. This was fun. I don't know to believe this or not. I haven't done enough interrogation into it because I'm not worried about this. I'm too focused on the other stuff. But it's got temperatures just for fun here. Minus 30 degrees Fahrenheit, minus 31. That's stupid cold if that were to verify. I mean, that's everything busting cold. That's every pipe you got broken, kind of a cold. So you don't want this mess. But really, just to show you though, what's at least is what we're dealing with as far as how that Arctic air came in from Siberia and what it's coming toward and how it's kind of lingering and working its way through. Let's go to Sunday morning. Let's see, right here. Same idea. That's our next coldest time frame. Out of the extended outlook here. So let's see, that's the European, so it's got us into the teens. The AI version is very similar. All right, let's see, there's the Canadian, has a little lower teens, a little bit colder than that. Negative numbers up there north of us into Kansas and Nebraska. Okay, there's American model. All right, Icon model, not nearly as cold with that wave. There's a model blend and the UK Met. So not bad, another cold period there. Okay, snowfall, when you look into this system, the one on Saturday, and then the one on the following Tuesday. And if you look at the ensemble mean from the different runs that we have in the global models, just kind of see where the trend is and where they think the heaviest precipitation will be. That is the American model that we're looking at right there. Let's see. So that's a foot of snow, by the way, in Missouri. There is the UK Met. It does have decent snows here for Oklahoma. There's the European, same idea, decent snows in Oklahoma. I-40 corridor points north, seems to be the heavier stuff because again it's combining all three of these, which makes sense. And there's the Canadian. I'd like to see it more down the south, but there is snow signals down south all the way to Dallas. I mean, that'll be interesting to see what happens over time. Now here is our actual models on the short term here for this system coming in for tonight, tomorrow, and then we'll also through in Saturday, just so I can get the whole snowfall total. At this point in time, the European is going possibly as much as an inch of snow here in Oklahoma City area up toward Tulsa, maybe 1 to 2. Again, this is over a two system, so tomorrow's and also on Saturdays. So there's Bartlesville up around 2, and there's Ponca City 1 to 2 to 3. Same thing up here in northern northwestern Oklahoma, anywhere from 1 to 3. So that's a pretty safe call. I think that's a doable outcome for both systems. The ice accumulation. So the model, at least in the latest trends, have backed off just a hair on the totals. At the height, at the peak, they're going about 1/4 of an inch. That's 0.25. Now they're going closer to 0.2 at the biggest region that they can spit out here on the map. So that's good. It's a little less, but it's still ice, and it only needs really a few hundreds to cause an ice skating rink. So it's not really a matter, but I guess maybe in the sense of there's less to melt at some point, and there's less just to coat things. So either way, ice is ice. But the end of this is just north of Wichita Falls, like I said, Paoli, Pauls Valley region, just north of McAllister and the Muskogee up toward the Turnpike around Tulsa. Probably even as far north as Stillwater, even though this map doesn't really show it that well because it's just one computer model I picked. And then probably a little bit out toward Elk City, kind of in this area. So that's probably where your bulk of the ice will be. And as far as the heaviest of it, I don't necessarily it's really going to matter because it's not a power outage thing. It's just going to be an ice coating thing. But this region's fair game here, and it could easily shift, north, south just a little bit. But that's a pretty good bullseye right here over central Oklahoma. All right, last thing I want to show you was our temperatures, and we'll use the European for this, just kind of show you. Over at lows, coming pretty cold, as we mentioned on Thursday, so that's the cold spot. Same thing for Sunday. And if you look at this, and it's not just the European, but the next week, the American model, I think we had a low of 4, I think it was, or 5, or 3. I don't know. It was stupid cold. And then there's the European as well. So in the low single digits here in Oklahoma City, which means other places are going to be either at that number or close to it here in Oklahoma. So obviously some more cold weather, and then we kind of have bouts of brief warm-ups. They don't last long. And matter of fact, every time I pull this 7-day out, it does this. So it's a chaotic pattern. So the models try to get their best guess as to when we get blasted with the Arctic air, when does it modify and or retreat, and then when do we get the next one, rinse and repeat, etc., etc. So the rest of the month still looks exciting. So there you go with that. All right, that is everything that I had to tell you. So hopefully that was helpful for you. So again, if you're joining here on Instagram Live, appreciate it. You can join the membership platform as well. There as well. Same thing for TikTok, you guys over there, and Facebook. You know the deal. Rumble. If you want Rumble, Rumbles are turds. So Rumble's trying to figure out. Rumble is still having some trouble. They're trying to figure it out. They send most of you for that kind of stuff to locals. So I've got locals activated for that, for the membership side of things. Otherwise, YouTube, of course, has been doing it forever, so they're good to go, and Facebook's been doing it forever, so they're good to go. So you're welcome to join any of those platforms, and then send me a email / direct message if you want access to the Facebook private group page for those that sign on the other platforms. So say, for example, you sign up on YouTube, but you also want to have access to the Facebook group because you can watch the live video on both. And there's just different communities for each one, right? So some people like Facebook, some people like the other. I can't control the other platforms. So for example, if you do Instagram Live, that's Instagram Live, that's it. So I can't do anything beyond that. So for example, let's say you're on Facebook. Let's say you join Facebook fan subscriptions, but you want to watch on Instagram Live, or you want to watch on YouTube. I can't do that. I don't have control over that. Only thing I have control over is the Facebook closed group page. That I have control over. So no matter how you join, if it's PayPal, if it's Venmo, if it's whatever, I can put you into that group. That I've got full power over. The rest of these, they all lock it down to that specific subscription. So it's a little, it's my workaround for that limitation. But I get it. Not everybody likes Facebook, etc., wants to give your credit card to Facebook. I get that too, or any of the other platforms. So you're comfortable doing like Zelle or Venmo or whatever. That's fine with me. So anyways, that's all set up. I'm trying to think anything else. Get my weather app, AT's Weather to Go. It is free on Apple and Google Play. You can track the weather and the winter storm that way and get the latest on radar, that kind of deal. And then I talked about this, I didn't show it, but if you do go to my website, you go to the weather data tab and you click down here, you get this on your phone or you get it on your computer, but the multi-state road conditions. So it'll show you the soil temperatures, but it will show you the snow routes here for Oklahoma City, and it'll also show you the live road conditions across the state from the snowplows, etc., because they have little cameras on their vehicles. Then, of course, you do have the highway electronic cameras and signs across the state as well. This is centered here over Oklahoma, but you can expand it out anywhere, and you can click on all of these, and it'll show you what traffic looks like. So if you get up in the morning, you're like, well, how's traffic moving along? Is it moving along pretty good? You can click on here real quick, and it'll show you the live camera views, and you can see how well things are going. So if you can get out to your neighborhood, be safe, and then maybe when you get to the main road, maybe it's a little bit better for you. But that'll give you an idea how many people are out there braving the elements. The other nearby states are also on here as well, so I've got that information for you. So just going to give you a heads up. That's at my website, AaronTuttleWeather.com. All right, I think that was it. As far as weather forecasting goes, let's see, my wife brought this up to me, a while back. Let's do this. She likes this graphic. She likes me to talk about it, and it's going to be kind of important, and you'll see why. Let's see here. Okay, so let's put that up. All right, walk like a penguin. And you're like, well, why are we doing this? Well, because some of you can get out there and walk and drive on this ice. That's why. So I'm going to do my best to save you from falling on your butt. So walk like a penguin is basically you're gonna waddle, is the idea here. But here's the real thing. So on the left, when you're just bebopping along, you got your stride going. You got your legs spread out. I mean, you got you're walking big time, right? So you don't want to walk like you normally do, because the problem is your center of gravity, everything's all thrown off when you're on ice. So it's too much out there. You need everything close in like an ice skater. So what happens is when you do fall, all right, so it says right here, it says normally when we walk, our legs support the ability of our weight in mid-stride. It's split in the middle. So walking this way on ice forces each leg to support the weight of the body at an angle that is not perpendicular to the surface of the ice, resulting in a nasty fall. So this is a little angle right here. So perpendicular would be up and down 90 degrees. This is not quite 90 degrees. All right, and when you do fall, what's the first thing you do? You put your hand out to catch it, right? Well, all you do right here is either break or sprain your wrist, so that's not good. And then, of course, you lay on your hip, and where do most of us go? We have a hip injury, hospital. So you don't want to do that. So you don't want to break your hip. So that's how you fall on the ice. You don't want to do that. All right. So how do you do it? So you keep your center of gravity over your front leg, straight up and down like this. So you're kind of scooting. You picture yourself like a little penguin. You can barely move your legs forward. So you're just kind of scooting along. One animal that hasn't figured it out is the penguin. So think of yourself like a penguin, and then you'll be all right. So that's how you prevent yourself from making a fall. So now, if you do fall, let's say you're trying this, you just can't quite get it, and then you're like this. But either way, you're going like this. Try to resist the ability to put your arm out to stop you. Try to actually bring your arms in like an ice skating rink, ice skater, and then just try to fall on your entire body. So fall on your whole side, rather than just your hip, just one spot. Just try to, if you ever took martial arts, whatever, what they teach you is they teach you how to fall properly. They teach you how to roll. And the idea of that is because you want to spread out that impact, that energy, that force equals MA, all over your entire surface area. And that minimizes the amount of force over any one particular spot. So it's a uniform distribution of force, and therefore less likely to be injured and break something. So try to fall on, and it's hard to think of at a split second when you realize you're going down, but just try not to use your hand to do it, and just try to keep your arms in tight, and then fall on your shoulder, your back, your left, your side, your hip, your leg, your foot, all of it. Let it all fall at the same weight and same surface area all at the same time. Easier said than done, but hey, if you're going to go down, at least give it a shot. And don't fall on your head, because you end up like this. All right, so that's it for that. I just want to bring that up to you because you're going to be out there. And as far as driving on the ice goes, it doesn't matter if you have four-wheel drive, big car, little car, two-wheel drive, doesn't matter. Ice is ice, and it's a mess. So good luck if you have to do it. Drive really slow. Plenty of distance between you and the other people on the roadways. Because remember, you may think you have it all under control, and it ain't even about you. It's about every other person out there that ain't you. That's going to really mess you up. So be careful of that. Brakes don't work so well. Analog brakes obviously are a little bit better than they were back in the day. But even those, they try to pump automatically for you. The idea, though, is not to have to slam on your brakes. You want to take your foot off the gas and do a lot of coasting. All right? And then really, if you can, and your car is not going to like it, but it'll get over it. It'll be a little angry with you for a minute, but you can downshift your vehicle from, your overdrive position. You shouldn't be going in overdrive position anyway. You shouldn't be going that fast. If you're going over 50 miles an hour on ice, you're asking for it. But you can downshift from third gear to second, to first, to where you can get you to come to a stop or a very slow, rather than trying to just hit the brakes all at once, because then you're going to lose all control. The idea is to keep your wheels rolling versus having them locked. Once you lock them, you're just sliding. You've got no control at all. So that's just some tips for you, just from me to you, to give it a shot, if you find yourself in that position. Like I said, hopefully you can stay home, but if you don't, just be careful out there. And that's it. So when you get up in the morning, you'll know what it is. Look out the window, check my radar on the weather app, look at the road conditions at my website, and you'll have all the information you need to make the decision that you need to make for yourself and others. Guys, be careful. Again, thanks for subscribing to all the different social media outlets, and I'll be with you, of course, the rest of this winter. And then spring season kicks in. Technically, we're about less than a month away, about 4 weeks, And we're in a tornado season. Hard to believe, but it is what it is. I'll be here. All right, we'll talk to you guys soon. Take care. Good night.